So apparently, from Okoff Investments, Google stock may be cheap for a reason. Really? Is that what we're going to do today? It's cheap because people don't want to buy it at a certain price. That to me is the only reason why Google stock is cheaper than what it was a couple of weeks ago. Now, apparently, you got these investment firms, these institutions, they want to break down this massive research to try to justify the reason why Google stock may be cheap. But from my perspective, it's real simple. If you think something is expensive, what would you not do? Right. You won't buy the stock. If you think the stock is cheap or on discount, then what would you do? Exactly, you'll buy it. Simple. This is just a simple game of supply and demand. But leave it to these people, Okoff Investments. They're going to go in and try to break down the EBITDA, the earnings per share, the future earnings potential, the cash flow of the business going 5 years, 10 years out. The summary of this article from Seeking Alpha. Alphabet stock is trading at a discount compared to other Magnificent Seven stocks. Should you buy it right away? Not so fast. Pump the brakes. Excessive investments planned for this year and possibly 2025 may keep the current discount and not result in meaningful returns for investors. Who is he or them that will determine not result in meaningful returns for investors? Who is them to tell you that? If you're thinking that 5% return is meaningful, then that's your prerogative. You don't have to allow somebody else to come tell you that, well, that's not meaningful. You need to have at least 45% return in order for it to be meaningful. Google stock price seems to be still high compared to where it should be following its correlation with marginal levels. Influencers like Elon Musk criticizing Gemini for alleged racism further tarnishes the user's perception of Google's product, undermining the significant investment the company has made in it. Really? So now they're trying to throw darts as to the reason why Google should not be bought right now. Okay. You're talking about Google, who is a massive player in the technology space. This article goes on to say, as I read, despite the relatively low multiples, I don't think it's time to buy Google yet. Perhaps we should actually wait and see what the company delivers in its first quarter 2024. This is the person's thesis, reasoning. In my last article on Amazon, I created a rather interesting chart comparing the growth potential of all Magnificent Seven companies based on market expectations for long-term earnings per share figures and PE ratios the company will receive in a few years based on that growth. All of that's hypothetical. So you could kind of take this as a grain of salt. Don't put a lot into it because, for one, expectations are seldomly met. And then expectations, when you include that with long term, again, that's rarely even being met. So here's this chart right here. I argue that Amazon may be the cheapest of the mega caps, but one couldn't help but notice Google, which sits on the far left of the chart and whose projected EPS growth is roughly in line with Netflix. Why is Google all the way on the left side of the chart? All of the other Magnificent Seven stocks are 13 or higher of the PE ratio. FY 2030. FY 2030. 6 years from now. In fact, the market expects Google to grow at a rate that far surpasses even Nvidia and Microsoft. Google stands out particularly strongly against Microsoft. Both companies should theoretically have similar AI-related growth drivers, but for some reason, Microsoft valuation premium is much larger than Google's. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Microsoft's valuation is higher than Google's? I could give you one reason. It's because of the partnership that Microsoft has with OpenAI. Yeah. They have created licensing deals, partnerships with OpenAI. Google is out on its own trying to create its own AI in-house. Big difference. Now, in that situation, that's going to give us a leg up as to, okay, which one of these companies who have entered the AI space, who would profit from it massively? Will it be the company that kept their AI in-house, or will it be Microsoft who actually banned out and went with OpenAI so that they can create the AI for them? Okay. So for real, like, what do you really think about Google? Google's cost of revenues increased by 6% year over year, while the OPEX was up 11% year over year. So thanks to the operating leverage, the company's EBITDA margin increased by 89 basis points quarter over quarter and 497 basis points year over year, which looks exceptionally good in my view. Google is definitely slowly but surely regaining lost 2021 margins. Again, he's going through all this research, trying to look at the books, the price, the EBITDA, the margin, year over year, quarter over quarter. Then he wants to go and look at EPS, year over year, beat, all these numerical numbers, all of these figures, just to say, to pump the brakes on buying Google. And he's trying to back all of this information with charts. I think this is one of the reasons why Google stock has the valuation discount I discussed above. The market may have already started to perceive the company as a cash cow, and the mere fact that the price hasn't followed the margin, parentheses, due to AI hopes already looks like a win. The biggest word that I see in that paragraph of these sentences is perceive. The only way that you can actually get a real depiction as to what the market is thinking is looking at the chart. Not these charts that he's trying to produce here on Seeking Alpha. It only shows you historical information concerning the internal company books. But how you perceive these charts that he's given on the Seeking Alpha article is left open to interpretation. You can look at these charts and come up with a totally different idea, different thesis, different hypothesis as to reason why it is, and you may come up with a different reason as to why it could be a buy. Utilizing the same information, the same numbers, you can say, dang, he's saying not to come in and buy Google, but I'm looking at the same information. I said it does look like a buy. So how does this really assist the reader? But there's only one possible explanation for why Google is as cheap as it seems compared to the Magnificent Seven. And here it is again. More charts, more research, looking at the EBITDA, looking at the EV, 16x, and a long-term EPS growth rate of 14%. Google can hardly be described as a classic value stock. Finfluential, a Twitter account, recently put forth the thesis that Google stock price is likely to remain under pressure until at least the first quarter of 2024. So now imagine doing all of this research just for one stock. One stock. And there's thousands of more being traded every day on these exchanges, and this man or woman, whoever, went through and did all of this research with one stock, Google, when all we could do is literally look at the chart for Google and see what the market has already done. Like people like this individual who wrote this article for Seeking Alpha, if they really did their due diligence, okay, I want us to be efficient. If they did their due diligence and they calculated all of these figures for the fundamentals for Google stock, and then they finally came up with their idea. And for instance, this person is saying that Google, you should not be buying Google. Okay. then we should be seeing the overall market think the same way. The price should be in a decline off the stock chart. They did the research. And before they go in and buy or sell or just sit the sideline, it will be recorded off of the price chart. This is the takeaway that he or she wants us to get from this article. I should say right away that I don't think the current negativity around Gemini will translate into anything meaningful for Google. The company is still one of the market leaders in the tech industry with a huge moat in its search engine and still holds over 83% of the global market. But this market share is shrinking fast, which may lead to a reinforcement of this trend against a backdrop of what I consider to be very risky AI investments. Now, again, really? You believe that too? What I consider to be very risky? This is where money is going. Period. And there will be winners in this AI run. But leave it to this individual. They're saying it's very risky. The issue here is not so much how justified Google investments are. Of course, the firm should invest heavily in infrastructure to keep up with the general trend. The only question is why in such large quantities in Q4 2023? I agree with the thesis that free cash flow plays an important role in determining market sentiment and stock price performance going forward. So why did you do all that research above the article? It plays an investment role in determining likely market sentiment and stock performance going forward. So why not just look at the chart? The chart is a direct reflection of market sentiment, of what people think. In addition, investors should not lose sight of margins. I suggest looking at all that closely and also reading what management says about future investments to determine their risk appetite. Again, it's amazing how that's why we need AI. We need to feed all this information that this person wrote about Google, give it to the AI and just look, ChatGPT, look, tell me what this article is just summarizing. Just give me the big bullet points because I don't have time for all this. Life is busy. I don't think it's time to buy Google yet. Perhaps we should actually wait and see what the company delivers in the first quarter 2024. Wow. Now, look at the chart, okay? Just look at the chart. Is Google trending down? Let's see. What's going on in Google? What do you think about the market? 'Cause like I said, the chart is the sentiment of the market for Google. So what do you think? Because from our price prediction that we produced here on the 23rd of February, we were looking for the market to go up in Google. And as you can see, it fell off a cliff. The buyers did not even hold the market here in Google, here, this buy zone. Literally the same day that we did the price prediction, the market closed below that area. So from that perspective, yes, we got that incorrect. It wasn't right. Okay, cool. But you can now see how the market in Google has swiftly came right back up above this $140 buy zone. So apparently, people outside of this individual who wrote this article Seeking Alpha saw that as a buying opportunity. So what we're going to do now is we're going to revise this chart and create the buy zone. So the buy zone that we originally had wasn't the correct location. It should have been down here. This is the buy zone, meaning that this is where the market has determined the price was cheap. Okay. So we have a bigger range that we can see Google stock consolidate. And now you can see it from 147 down to 132.50. That is the current range of consolidation that I will be expecting the market to try to hold and do. Now, our price prediction wasn't right. 4.2% next day. Very quick, very fast. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to look at this on a weekly chart. And it looks like the market is about to enter a consolidation on trading range. Just going to keep it real. So you have the person who wrote that article, Seeking Alpha, trying to come out and say that it's a hole right now. Hey, the market may be insinuating the same thing, given how It wants to literally consolidate. Here's Google on the monthly chart. Now I'm here to tell you this. It'll be great in the next 11 days if the market in Google closes on the high of this monthly bar. Okay. We've already seen the market in Google hit all-time highs during the month of January, and looks like the market is holding that range. 3 months. Getting some weakness entering the market on the 3 months time frame in Google, even on the 6. Okay. Here it is on the 5. Very, very big move off of that weakness on the 5-day bar. Market went right back up, which is why I'm literally trying to say it looks like the market wants to consolidate within Google. Now, the thing that you will say is, okay, cool. Since we already saw buyers hit this buy zone here, then the market may try to hit 148 as resistance there. Here it is on the 2. Don't like the amount of volume that came in Google there, and then how the market closed on the 2. So yeah, sellers are still hitting the market in Google. Okay. So currently, in my opinion, I think the market in Google is a hold. And it didn't take us going through all their fundamental analysis just to make that determination. The overall chart is literally reflecting that the market in Google doesn't want the trend right now. Okay. So this leads me to not drop a price prediction for Google. But this just gives us another example as to how you just need to look at the price chart to see what the overall market is thinking, rather than you going to all of this due diligence and providing charts and numerical figures and calculations just to come up with the idea and say, yeah, we need to wait. Or take this person's information, like I said, drop into AI chat and see what it could come up with. Just tell it, give you the biggest main points. Save yourself some time, because there's a lot of other stocks that are moving. All right. So give me your thoughts though. Make sure you maintain the profitability. And as always, trade different.